Hey guys, we are back. Today we're looking at a full tower from BitFenix, the Shinobi XL. They have taken their quite popular mid tower, the Shinobi, and enlarged it, leaving many of the same features on the outside as well as the inside. The case is released at around $150, so not bad for a full tower category. The case would appeal to many who like the simple and minimalistic design. The top and front panels are made of plastic and covered in BitFenix's soft touch coating, which adds a rubberized feel and enhances the overall build quality. The front panel connectors are located at the top, and considering the sizing of the chassis, it may become problematic if placed under the desk or in tighter spots. The orange USB port is BitFenix's supercharged port. It's not for data transfer but for charging your USB devices. It sends up to 2.5 amps of current and it charges about 5 times faster than a regular USB port. So a neat little feature that will definitely be of use in the current day and age. Next are the 4 USB 3 ports that connect through both a 20 pin and a regular 9 pin, depending on your motherboard. Then we have our audio ports, your power button, and a hardly accessible reset button that must be pressed with a pen or something thin for it to register. The front panel has 5 optical drives with meshed venting strips running down on each side. Behind the panel, a removable dust filter covers the provided 230mm fan with the option to install a triple 120mm fan intake with the top fan mounted on one of the 5¼ drive panels, meaning the bottom 3 optical bays will be taken up. So the fan options for the front intake are pretty decent, but having only the small venting strips on the panel, not much airflow will be delivered. The top panel has a tight mesh to catch the settling dust, with support for a triple radiator and more venting strips on each side to maintain a uniform design. Now the front panel should have had the same ventilation mesh to allow less resisting airflow. The top panel is removable, and BitFenix includes a second 230mm fan for the top, and users can mount an additional 230mm fan for a powerful exhaust. Now given these fans are over $20 on their own, props to BitFenix for supplying 2 of these fans. The top also supports triple 120mm fans for water coolers. Unfortunately, fans cannot be mounted above the frame, and all the parts must be mounted inside, which is a bit disappointing. You will not be able to have a push and pull configuration with a standard radiator, and given the size of this enclosure, we feel this is a major drawback. Taking a look at the back, we have water cooling holes, an exhaust fan, I/O area, 9 PCI slots, and a bottom mounted power supply with a removable dust filter. Moving inside, all the optical bays utilize a toolless mounting system, and the hard drive cage supports up to 7 3.5 and 2.5" drives using these toolless brackets. Now the brackets aren't exactly secured and can fall off the rails easily. Now this isn't an issue with the 3.5" drives, but if mounting SSDs, you can secure the bracket to the cage using a single screw. We would recommend this if the case is in transport. On the other side, the CPU cutout is fairly large with rubber grommets spread all around the motherboard tray for your cable management. Now these grommets are pretty small and can fall out easily when passing cables through them. And given this is a full tower, the case has support for XL ATX motherboards, which is the reason for those 9 PCI slots, Quad SLI or Crossfire for all of you enthusiasts. At the bottom of the case, there are 2 dust filters for the optional 120mm fans, and at first impressions it seemed these filters could easily be removed, but unfortunately that's not the case. They sit extremely tight and are secured from the inside, removal of which requires to poke through each corner to release the dust filter. The fan can be installed for the bottom intake, and the filter would just be screwed on with the fan. Not the most ideal way and could be a little frustrating. The entire hard drive cage can either be removed or rotated, and if removed, the bottom intake could be utilized perfectly for a dual radiator, or a standard triple rad can be installed on place for the front intake. But unfortunately, rotating the hard drive cage is not made easy and definitely needs to be reconsidered. First, you must remove 11 screws. The top 4 are hardly accessible. Then you need to remove both of the dust filters, which in itself is quite a challenge. And only then the hard drive cage is free and can be rotated. Now once the cage is rotated, neither of the bottom fans can be utilized as there's no clearance. And on top of that, wiring the drives now becomes a problem, as it is difficult to route the cables behind the cage. Also, this prevents any graphics cards longer than 10.5 inches to be installed. So rotating the cage seems to introduce more hassle and limitations than benefits, and the more appropriate solution for the cage is to divide it into two parts, either of which can be removed if needed. We've seen this method from many manufacturers, and BitFenix needs to adapt to the current market standard if they want to stay competitive. Included with the case is a 5¼ inch adapter that supports 3.5 and 2.5 inch drives. So in case the hard drive cage is removed for water cooling, you can still mount a single drive. Looking at the back of the case, there's a ton of room for all your cable management, and spread around are these cable tie notches that can really be helpful. And no issues should arise with cable routing, as rubber grommets are conveniently placed around the motherboard. And fully assembled, the Shinobi XL does not disappoint. The spacious interior is what you would expect from a full tower. Cleaning up all the cables at the back is really easy due to how much space is available. And graphics cards a length of 13.1 inches are supported with the cage in place, meaning the full potential of what can be installed inside is not limited by any hardware. So overall, the Shinobi XL is a good candidate within the full tower family. It is nice to see they've expanded the Shinobi line as it appeals to many budget consumers. The simple and clean design is the preferred choice for many, and the overall build quality is decent, but definitely could be improved, like the annoying rubber grommets that constantly fall out and the unsecure hard drive brackets. It has plenty of storage area and can mount the largest GPUs on the market, and it's always exciting to see some innovations within the enclosure market, like the new supercharge port for charging your devices. Water cooling capabilities could be improved, but it does support 360 and 240mm rads. However, there are a number of small flaws that really add up, and we hope BitFenix would address them in the future. Starting with the top panel, it would be nice being able to install the fans above the steel frame for a push and pull configuration. The front intake fans are practically choked on the front panel, and there needs to be more meshed ventilation to really take advantage of that 230mm fan. And the last major turnoff about the Shinobi XL is the rotation of the hard drive cage. It is not made simple and carries with it many limitations, like the inability to install bottom intake fans and an extremely tedious process of the actual rotation, and obviously difficult wiring for the drives. But that being said, modding the chassis is an option to really take advantage of its large size and the internal design. At this price range, there are plenty of competition swirling around, and the Shinobi XL offers many possibilities and has great potential. And that concludes our review for the Shinobi XL. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next one.